Hello everyone and welcome to another random video on the internet. Satori here. Today I have my special guest Eternal Flame. Say what's up.
What's up? Today we shall be discussing a topic that we find very interesting. What if the world of One Punch Man had to deal with all the supervillains from the show? This is sort of a continuation of a video we did on Eternal Flame's channel on whether or not the GDA and Invincible could stop the Monster Association. So if you're interested, I'd highly recommend checking that out after you're done here. This is also a chance for me to rectify my failures on the original Invincible video I did, as it did have some pretty big flaws that a lot of you rightfully called out. So yeah, let's just jump straight into it. And Eternal Flame, do you want to talk about how we're going to approach the topic?
What's good everybody? As the representative of Earth's villains in Invincible, today I have a pretty interesting way that we're going to talk about the topic. Where instead of doing it as like a gauntlet style, where all like like how we did it in my channel was the Monster Association just went to war with like the GDA. Instead, we're going to have it so all of the events of Invincible are going to happen in chronological order that are of importance. And we're going to have each villain appear in their relative order that they're shown on screen. So we're not actually going to go in power, but we're going to go in order. So starting out with the Mauler Twins, all the way to Conquest at the end. But this is going to be with a little bit of a twist, where we are going to make it so anytime like if a hero dies in one of these situations, they end up just being out from the scenario. They can no longer be used, for example. It would mainly be just what would happen if the One Punch Man world had to deal with the Invincible villains on Earth. But thankfully it's only going to be on Earth, so they're not going to have to deal with the 3 Viltrumites in space that attack the bug planet.
Yeah, but they will have to deal with the Viltrumites that actually came to Earth, so Anissa, Conquest. However, we will be excluding the Invincible War for this, because that's just way too big an event for a video like this. It deserves its own video. And yeah, basically as Flame said, the damage done by previous villains carries on. So for example, when we get Battle Beast very early on, that's gonna carry over to the next matchup, so this would hopefully make the video a lot more interesting and a lot more desperate for the heroes of One Punch Man.
Yep. But fortunately for them, we have a pretty easy, nice start for them. They're going to be going up against the Mauler Twins, because the Mauler Twins attacked the White House in order to steal, I think it was the Declaration of Independence. I don't know why they were there. They went to the White House. That's the important thing there. But, like, what is the One Punch Man equivalent of the White House? Satori.
There is none. The closest one is the freaking Hero HQ, so if they attack that, like, Darkshine's there guarding it at all times. To make this more fair, we're gonna say it's not the fortress that was built by Metal Knight, like, after Boros invaded. Like, it's not gonna be that where literally hundreds of heroes live at all times. So,
yep.
We're gonna be going with the conservative previous Hero HQ, which was just one single building in the middle of a city. Darkshine is still there, and Darkshine is a very powerful hero in the association, so it's basically going to be Darkshine versus the Mauler Twins. So where would you say the Mauler Twins scale in the grand scheme of things?
Both of the Mauler Twins definitively scale, like, physically around the same level, but inferior to the Guardians of the Globe. One of them is able to tussle with Immortal in future seasons, so that should put them somewhere above mountain level, because they should scale above Invincible in Season 1. Unfortunately, that's not enough.
Yeah, Darkshine downscales from, basically, Fraud Centipede, I refuse to call him by his real name. He downscales from that guy, who is small planetary on the high end and multi-continental on the lowest possible ends. So it is just kind of unfair. Darkshine doesn't scale exactly to him, but he scales a couple one-shot tiers below him. So all in all, he should still be in that continental, maybe country level range, and that should definitely be enough for the Mauler Twins for the most part. And especially when we're factoring in speed, where he can fight Garo, who at that point is multiple times faster than light, based off Genos dodging lasers way earlier in the series, and Garo growing way past that version of Genos. So Darkshine is going to come out hoping for a real challenge, and he's not going to get one, unfortunately.
Yeah. Because while, like, the Mauler Twins are capable of dodging lasers, they do that in their battle against Robot, it's not going to be enough for someone who should scale massively above someone who can dodge lasers.
Yep. So now we get to the really funny part of Omni-Man, since spoilers for Invincible Season 1, I guess. He
if
kills
you're clicking on
the
this video, there's no...
yeah. He kind of kills the Guardians, like he sneaks them. So technically, we could go two routes with Nolan. Either he arrives later just to conquer the planet, just like at the time that he did in Season 1, let's say, he arrives to Earth to conquer the planet. Or he's been here for 20 years as a spy, sneaking up on heroes and like watching them, seeing their powers. He would know Tatsumaki's powers, most prevalently, because she's like the main forerunner of the Hero Association. He could just sneak her from behind at some point, like...
Not to mention the fact that Omni-Man, like, if Omni-Man is here for 20 years, it wouldn't just be Omni-Man. They would have had a son. Like, they would have had a hybrid son with them, which is terrifying, considering how powerful normal One Punch Man humans are, right?
Yeah, because, like, in Invincible, for example, like, Mark refuses to carry Amber at really high speeds because that would kill her. One Punch Man, literally Saitama at 12 years old gets slammed into a wall hard enough to leave a crater and just survives. Like, these people are pretty strong. Even then.
And now you're putting that with like a Viltrumite. Like, basically, long story short, if we go with the actual plot, Omni-Man has been here for 20 years. No one beats him.
He would legitimately just sneak them.
He's going to sneak them. He knows their weaknesses. So that's why we're going to go with Route 2, which is when Omni-Man's going to be talked about later in this video.
Honestly, the worst part about all of this is Nolan would be a hero for 20 years. That's like old enough for him to be like a really well-known, efficient hero from way back in the day. He might honestly be a role model to somebody like Tatsumaki. Like, that would be so bad for the scenario, because she would just be more inclined to trust him if that is the case. And maybe she would be wary because he's an alien. Maybe for all 20 years she might be on guard at all times in case Omni-Man might decide to strike, but like, how likely really is that?
I just doubt that being what happens, but yeah. And also just so we can avoid talking about Omni-Man till later in the video, so yeah.
Yeah, we're not saying Omni-Man be, like, we're gonna talk about actual power levels later, but like, Omni-Man just like sneaking up on Tatsumaki in her sleep, was just snapping her neck, like, not really that outrageous, probably.
Yep.
Hey, this is Editor Santeri speaking in post. I did want to say there are a couple ways this could actually go down, because if Omni-Man takes the same exact approach as he took with the Guardians of the Globe, where he attacks them when they're all gathered together, then the situation will be very different from what we've described. Because then the S-Class heroes would be wary, they would be covering each other's backs, you know, like they would see each other's blind spots, the same way the Guardians of the Globe did. So that one would just evolve into Omni-Man versus the entire S-Class, and that goes, we will talk about how that goes later, but that goes very differently than Omni-Man simply sneaking everybody separately in their sleep. Because basically he could switch up his strategy from the show, right? Like, he could see how strong Tatsumaki is. Tatsumaki might even ask to spar with him at some point, because, you know, she's looking for a challenge too. So if he does feel Tatsumaki's full power early on, I think he would switch up his game, but if he doesn't switch up his game, then he would just face the entire S-Class all at once, and that goes very differently compared to the scenario that we laid out. So yeah, just wanted to throw these 2 cents in there. Let's continue with the video. So next we're gonna move on back to regular Season 1. Titan is next.
Titan is unfortunately even weaker than the Mauler Twins. Like, he gets beaten by Season 1, becoming a hero, even before he gets training from Omni-Man Mark. Like, that is how weak he actually is. Where he's able to take damage from that one. And he gets much stronger from that point. And, like, it's hard to even get him reasonably to mountain level because he shouldn't scale up to, like, Mark catching the meteor. So, yeah. He'd be, like, he'd be helping to, rob someplace, rob technology and stuff. But he just gets stopped.
Then some A-class heroes might be enough, but if not, then somebody like Puri Puri Prisoner or, you know, some of the other lower S-class could probably take care of him.
Dear God, not Peri Peri.
We're gonna...
Titan doesn't deserve that.
Yeah, he's gonna be broken. Literally canon that Puri Puri prisoner takes prisoners and then leaves them shells of their former selves via means that I am not allowed to discuss on YouTube. Moving on. Moving up, we have the Flaxan Invasion. So why didn't you discuss this one?
Now, the Flaxan Invasion happens in 3 separate attacks. We're going to specifically be going over the TV show variant, not the comic variant, so that should also be pretty obvious by this point, but yeah. The Flaxan variants have 3 different versions, where the first version is just the Flaxans themselves attacking. They also have, like, the big energy tank, which the normal guns are capable of hurting Invincible, and then there are the big energy tank, which is even stronger than that. This is when Invincible has started his training. He has some pretty impressive, like, mountain level stuff. It's just going to be a huge army of, like, creatures that have these guns, but, like, they themselves aren't too durable or powerful for the first invasion. But it's the real tanks that are going to be the big issue.
Yep. So, for the lower S-Class heroes and the A-Class heroes, the guns are gonna be problematic most likely, because you really need to be generous to get them above mountain level, and even getting them to mountain level can be difficult. So, those guys would have trouble. However, in large numbers, they should be faster than the Flaxans, most likely. Like, several of the A-Class heroes can react to Garo to certain degrees, who again is faster than Genos, who at that point was dodging lasers. Not saying that they are exactly like Lightspeed or anything, like, even Genos isn't exactly Lightspeed, he's dodging them from a distance, but I'm just saying, like, they scale to a guy who, even while weakened, should not be too far below that Genos, especially since he fights a stronger Genos, like, immediately after. And they are reacting to some of Garo's hits. To a certain extent, they are able to react, so they should be fast enough to dodge the guns over a distance. But then, once the higher S-Class show up, like Watchdog Man, if this happens in City Q, for example, as much as I hate to say it, he would just slaughter a lot of them immediately.
And to be honest, like, it's not even that, like, needed, because for, like, the first Flaxan Invasion, they just need to hold off for long enough, because eventually their technology and bodies are going to start aging rapidly, because they can't hold out for this much longer, because they're from, a dimension where they age much faster.
Yep.
Which is how they were defeated the first time.
Yep. However, if they leave a few times and come back each time with superior technology, then things might start ramping up. Like, the heroes would need to send somebody into their dimension to kill them, and that might be trouble, because Omni-Man is an alien, he doesn't have to worry about different atmospheres and whatnot, but the heroes actually might, so, like, do they just assemble a strike team, put them all in astronaut suits, and send them into that dimension?
Probably. But, like, it's also, like, the Flaxan leader, like, the Flaxans in their third invasion is going to be much more trouble, because they have, like, the giant mech suit that the Flaxan leader used, which was able to decimate Mark in Season 1.
Yep, so that's gonna require some of the higher S-Class as well. So, overall, like, if they just send Tatsumaki over, which I'm not sure they would, to be honest, because they have no idea if they can come back afterwards, like, if the hero they send could come back. So, like, they might not risk sending their, like, top strongest heroes. So, if they sort of restrain themselves like that via caution, they might actually lose a few heroes without accomplishing much, because, like, lower-end heroes are not going to be able to decimate their homeworld the same way Omni-Man could. You'd really need Tatsumaki to do that, and they might not risk losing her, but, like, at some point they probably would just cut their losses, send her in, and then just... she would force her way out the same way Omni-Man did.
Which is also, funnily enough, going to give Tatsumaki some time to, like, figure out new abilities and stuff, because she's going to be in a dimension where time passes much slower for her in comparison to everybody else.
Yeah, that is true as well.
Or much faster, actually.
Yeah, much faster, much faster.
Like, she herself is not actually going to age in that dimension, but she'll be fine.
Yep. And then next, we move on to one of the most OP threats, surprisingly, the Hail Mary.
Now, thankfully, it's not the drug-amped version that fought Omni-Man later on, so we don't have to immediately put them up against a foe that almost killed Omni-Man.
Yep.
But we do have to put them against the foe that basically pushed Omni-Man harder than anything else has pushed him on this planet.
Yeah, to the point that the GDA felt like they could use this thing to actually maybe even kill him if they boosted it.
Yep, which, like, to put into perspective, Omni-Man, when moving casually through the Flaxan dimension and causing those explosions, has been calculated to large country level. This doesn't do any damage whatsoever to Omni-Man's body, so it's pretty reasonable to assume that since the Hail Mary was able to push Omni-Man, they likely did some damage. So they should also scale above this.
Yep. And, like, Omni-Man himself
And that's without
can
the
scale
trucks.
way higher, too, so, like,
Yeah.
the Hail Mary might just be busted.
And by extension, the Hail Mary should also scale higher. There are other feats that can get them... You can get the Hail Mary to Multi-Continental pretty easy, even without the drugs.
Yep. So, honestly, the heroes who would be tasked with deal... Like, giant monsters in One Punch Man are kind of almost a daily occurrence. And a lot of the time, lower-end heroes are able to take care of these kaiju pretty easily. Like, base Metal Bat was going to beat up the giant hedgehog if Saitama and Tatsumaki hadn't interrupted that. Like, for example, just as a small example. Almost none of them could probably take this thing out definitively. Like, a lot of them could maybe compete a little bit, like Scratch It, like Flashy Flash, for example. And it couldn't catch heroes like Flashy Flash or Bang. But they couldn't put it down either, so eventually they would have to send in someone really strong. Depending on when in the story this happens, you'd either need Daedric Genos with his 10-second mode or Tatsumaki. Maybe Metal Bat if he pumps up to like a very large degree like he did against Sage Centipede, but that's very unlikely since that was a specific set of circumstances with Garo and like Resonance and stuff.
Yep. Also, I'm just going to explain real quick why I said the Hail Mary can get to Multi-Continental, because I knew that would be an issue. Basically, long story short, in Invincible Season 3, his training montage before he's even saved to be 130% stronger, he is able to do a moon jump calc, which this moon jump calculation has been calculated all the way up to Multi-Continental, or just Continental from like the dust cloud he produces. It is pretty reasonable to assume Hail Mary is a little bit under 130% weaker than Omni-Man, but either way, they should be in the same ballpark. So you could very easily argue that they are in the same like dimension of that.
Yep.
Because like Invincible shouldn't be one-shotting, like especially considering this is like an Invincible like in between in training, not even Invincible in Season 3 yet with the full statement.
Yep. And even Invincible in like Season 2 fails to like one-shot a kaiju that Anissa casually one-shots. The Hail Mary is way stronger and, you know, like...
Yeah, that too.
Yep. So, all in all, it would definitely cause some problems, probably cause a lot of collateral damage. I don't see it killing too many heroes just because the speed gap is quite severe with a lot of the upper tier S-Class and the Hail Mary. And eventually somebody like Tatsumaki would just show up and like maybe toss it into space. When in doubt, toss him into space.
No.
We're reversing the old video.
It can't come back!
For those who don't know, the Immortal tossed a lot of cadres into space last episode.
Go watch that video.
Yep, we're flipping that back now. Tatsumaki's tossing these villains into space.
The one big advantage is the Hail Mary doesn't have a healing factor at least, so they have that going for them. But still.
And yeah, and speaking of space tosses, it might debatably be required in this next matchup as well, because we have literally the craziest thing happening right now. This early in the video, like not even through Season 1 of Invincible,
At long last, my thirst for battle can be satiated. Long have I waited for such a worthy challenge. I will savor this. And if this conflict brings about the end of my life, I will savor it all the more.
Battle Beast?
We got Battle Beast and the 4 machine head goons that are going to be with him too, which I know that most people are going to just dismiss these machine head goons as being like, oh, they're nothing of importance. So I'm going to talk about them first, and then I'm going to go into Battle Beast, who everyone knows is strong as hell.
Yep.
So the thing that needs to be understood about all 4 of these goons is they should scale somewhere around the, like, meteor catching feat that Invincible does. They're each able to stagger him, they're each able to push him around, and only when Invincible is enraged is he able to push them off of him. Keep in mind, the rage is a pretty massive amp as well, So, like, they should reasonably scale somewhere in the mountain level calc that is required to stop that meteor, because he wasn't in range while doing it, and each of these guys were able to put their hands on him, they were each able to throw him around. Tether Tyrant threw him into a wall, and, like, Kursk, the lightning guy, the guy that, like, yeah, that guy, he was able to push him repeatedly and push against him, so, yeah.
Yep. So, these guys are no joke. They would require some of the S-class heroes to defeat, not like the regular A-class guys.
Yep.
However, the real meat and potatoes is gonna be Battle Beast, of course. Like, these guys are good backup, but... okay, let's first talk about the scenario, actually, because Machine Head, in the world of One Punch Man, he'd be like a mob boss, like a problem.
Yeah.
And I assume Flashy Flash would be the one to take it upon himself to take him out.
Agreed.
So, in theory, there are two ways. Either Flashy Flash goes for him, like he did with all the other mob bosses in a pretty funny scene where, like, he just lists off everybody he killed. He literally wiped out the entire underworld by himself in One Punch Man, basically.
And considering Machine Head straight up owns an entire city and dictates how it goes, yeah, he's definitely a target.
Yep. Or another route is a strike team, sort of similar to the Monster Association, maybe not on the same scale, because like they don't know they're about to face the final boss. So
yeah. Like, by their knowledge, they'd only think, like, Machine Head has a teleporter with him. Like, they weren't prepared for Machine Head to pull out 5 people at once.
basically, the strike team assembled wouldn't be as strong as the one sent after the Monster Association. Tatsumaki is probably not gonna be there, because like they think they're dealing with a powerful mob boss, not some world-ending threat. So again, I assume Flashy Flash might come in first just by himself at some point. So, if that happens, I do see him taking out the goons pretty easily. Like, he is way faster than Light. And he scales to, like, Multi-Continental via scaling pretty close to Sage Centipede. Honestly, like, depending on how close you think he is to Platinum S, he might even be Moon level. Because you do see Platinum S, like, having veins on him and grunting and groaning and gritting his teeth when fighting Flashy Flash.
Yep.
And, like, all those little dots you see when they clash in the sky, that's Flashy Flash, Platinum S and Garo clashing with each other. Flashy Flash literally clashed with them so many times. Like, yeah, he gets taken out pretty quickly, but the fight is very quick. The fight itself, like, the entire thing is, like, 2 chapters long. And, like, literally, like, 5 or, like, 6 pages after Flashy Flash falls, Platinum falls too. Like, that fight is ludicrously fast. So, ultimately, it is just not gonna go well for these guys.
Yeah.
But then, then Battle Beast. okay, before that, one thing we probably have to address is Flashy Flash likely would just sneak kill Machine Head if it wasn't for...
You see, under 9 out of 10 circumstances, that would work. But Machine Head has a chip in his head that allows him to predict high probability chances of things happening that Titan stole for him, which he'd have here. So, the second that Flashy Flash tries that, Isotope is just teleporting him out the way. So sneaking him is not going to work. Machine Head is expecting it. Machine Head is smart. So, yeah.
Yeah, he would literally just see it coming.
Yep.
So, also, like, Flashy Flash took the other mob bosses out very sneakily, like Hellfire and Gale, 2 other assassins didn't even know they were dead. But, like, Machine Head has his eyes and ears everywhere. Like, he would probably be aware that, like, hey, every single other mob boss in this universe got killed mysteriously, somehow. Maybe I should just always have precautions ready, just in case.
Yeah.
And that precaution ultimately would be,
Battle Beast.
Battle Beast.
And, yeah, here's the thing about Battle Beast that needs to be noted. While it's pretty, you can argue, like, Flashy Flash can get to Moon level, Battle Beast is tiers above Moon level, because there are several ways to get, like, Invincible to Moon level. For example, as I talked about before, there is the Moon Jump calculation, which, like, it goes from Continental all the way up to Moon level, and Battle Beast massively scales above that. But there are also other ways. For example, the nuke of the Mauler Twins that they launch out at Invincible in Season 3 scales massively below Invincible, and that nuke can go anywhere between Large Country to Multi-Continental, all the way up to Moon level. Now keep in mind as well, this nuke doesn't destroy Invincible's suit. It does no damage whatsoever. So there are multiple tiers in between this and where Battle Beast would be. So Battle Beast just has several ways to reasonably be above planet level. There's also using Alan the Alien's planet as an argument to get him to planet level if you wanted to as well. Basically what I'm saying is, no matter how you put it, Battle Beast is destroying Flashy Flash.
Yeah. And, like, even Battle Beast himself, very extremely mild comic spoiler, but basically just, like, it's stated that a battle that Battle Beast participates in can just rip apart a planet. Like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna show, like, the full panel or anything, but, like, it's just stated, like, Battle Beast battle can just rip apart a planet, so, like, it was also pretty insane there.
Yep.
And, overall, just like, he is a tier of combatant that is more suited to Tatsumaki, not Flashy Flash. Okay, the speed is the only thing. Would Flashy Flash be able to get away? Because, like, the thing that's gonna happen is Flashy Flash is gonna, like, appear behind Battle Beast and try to drive a sword into his back, and it's just gonna snap like Phaeton's sword did against that one ant from Hunter x Hunter. So, what is gonna happen after that? Could Battle Beast actually catch him, is the question.
I don't think it matters too much, because I think Battle Beast would let him go, because he wasn't a satisfactory enough opponent. Because if your blade
Honestly,
is breaking on him, you're not satisfying to him.
Yeah, so basically, like, Flashy Flash is gonna see that. He might try a few more moves, maybe that forbidden move, which we don't know what it does, but, like, he has some forbidden move. And, like, he's just gonna see, like, oh, shoot. This is that standing here, I realize meme going on right here.
Yep.
He might just retreat, honestly. Like, he is very prideful. I'm not sure if he would, but if he's not getting outmatched in speed, which is his, like, main specialty, then I don't think he would go berserk the same way he did against Platinum S and Garo.
Agreed, he's not.
So he might just do a technical retreat.
Yeah. Like, Battle Beast is not faster than him, unless you use the Fraxa speed thing, which is wrong, which sucks. But
yeah. And then
it's weird.
What happens after this is really weird, because then either Battle Beast just leaves, like the same way he did with Mark.
Yep.
Or Machine Head, wanting to keep him, wanting to sort of keep his alliance, he could maybe say, look, I know that guy wasn't satisfactory, but there's this terrible Tornado, the number 2 hero, who, according to my data, is like the strongest person on the planet. We are not including Saitama in this scenario, if you haven't realized already. He is, he's often like a space adventure with Boros. You can imagine that however you imagine it. Basically, Battle Beast might just be inclined to like go seek out the smoke with Tatsumaki. And if that is the case, then this is like the ultimate boss battle. But I think the best way to approach that is just like Battle Beast and Conquest. I think a lot of people will agree are like sort of comparable to each other.
Agreed.
Like it's a pretty big debate. So I think we can just save our conclusions for that whenever Conquest arrives as the final boss battle, because doing it now would be kind of anticlimactic, not gonna lie.
Yep. So basically, you're gonna have to wait. Just assume that Battle Beast beat up Flashy Flash. Machine Head tried to convince him, and Battle Beast was like, nah, and then he left.
Yeah, basically. And now we move on to a massive downgrade, which is the Reanimen in Season 1. So how does this go?
Now, first, it should be noted, the Reanimen are going to be on a random college campus and attacking a bunch of people randomly, but they themselves are not too powerful. They just scaled to Season 1 mark, so they should be in the same mountain range that I talked about earlier, maybe a bit above, maybe a bit below, because they also were considered threats to Omni-Man, even though they didn't do really any damage to him. So yeah, mountain level is where they're going to be placed at. And yeah, but the sad thing about them is they are still kind of alive right now. Like, it's not like they're corpses.
Yeah.
So this might turn into a rescue mission, and they're also going to need to find D.A. Sinclair. So who would be the one that gets sent here?
I believe that, all in all, probably some A-class or B-class would be sent first to investigate the disappearances of people, and those guys are gonna get kind of bodied, and probably turned into Reanimen themselves, which is gonna be excellent material, because, like, compare the normal humans in, Dude, we just created an alternate universe where the Reanimen are Giga Chad immediately, like, off-rip.
Oh,
like,
no.
They've got, like, Stinger Reanimen, they've got, like, Lightning Max Reanimen, Dude, that would actually be really bad.
Yeah, oh god. They turn normal humans to mountain level. Like, and this is like, D.A. Sinclair is not at his best right now. And so there's like I have a whole debate coming up and like plan thing to explain why D.A. Sinclair's Reanimen in Season 1 are by far the worst. But I don't want to get into that here. That's a whole tangent. But, yeah.
So, imagine A-class heroes boosted that much. Like, they're probably taking out some lower S-class. Like, probably, like, Puri Prisoner is gonna come in. I was gonna say he does horrible things to Sinclair, but, like,
nah,
not anymore. With the A-class Reanimen, they would probably turn him into a Reanimen instead.
Oh, God. Is D.A. Sinclair just gonna be in the shadows?
Dude, Puri Reanimen. Dude, he would actually be a problem. Like, the Hero Association's gonna realize that, like, oh my, like, an S-class hero went missing. Like, this is legit some stuff that happens in, like, my Boros What If. Jeez. So, basically after this, I guess they're sent in, like, a strike team probably again, because, like, if an S-class hero goes down, like, I imagine the appropriate response would be sending multiple stronger heroes. And at that point, it's like, okay, we have Puri Reanimen and a bunch of A-class Reanimen. How strong do you think they would be there, like, in comparison to, like, somebody like Darkshine is up to interpretation? Because, like, we don't know if the boost would be exactly 1-to-1 from going, like, from normal human level to mountain level.
It's kind of hard to
I don't know.
say.
What do you see happening?
It's kind of hard to say because we've never seen like someone with superpowers be turned into a Reanimen. We do see it in the most recent season, but we don't know what the alternate Mark Reanimen are going to be like. And minor comic spoilers for a second. They don't do anything in the comics, like nothing at all. So we can't really say what they're going to be like there either. And
yeah, hopefully they do something in the show then.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it depends on what tier of heroes the Hero Association sends to deal with this, but, like, this is a zombie apocalypse that is pretty deadly. But, like, ultimately, no matter what heroes they get, Tatsumaki will clean them up.
Agreed.
If worst comes to worst. I do feel like if they just send, like, a strike team similar to that of the Monster Association, maybe smaller, maybe, like, I don't know, Atomic Samurai, Bang, and Darkshine, and, like, maybe you want to throw Flashy Flash in there too. They should probably clean it up.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, Flashy Flash just tracks down D.A. Sinclair and kills him. And, like,
that's probably what it's
the Reanimen just have no purpose afterward.
Do you think, like, I mean, I can actually weirdly see, like, Dr. Kuseno trying to take in the Reanimen and fix them. Because, like,
actually,
they are still human. Like, they are still people. Like, they can be repaired. So
yeah, dude, Genos. Actually, we should have gone with Genos here. Genos also couldn't be turned into a Reanimen, probably. Just, like, because he's entirely mechanical. Unless D.A. Sinclair can hijack his mind or something. Which might be possible, but I don't know. Like,
I don't think so, because he uses human brains. And also, if you have a strong enough willpower, you can just straight up overpower it.
Yep. Ultimately, though, Dr. Crescendo would probably adopt this technology into Genos as well. Like, that can turn normal humans this powerful. Like, he'd probably enhance Genos, too. Even if the Reanimen are technically weaker than Genos, it still should help.
Agreed. I was about to ask, would D.A. Sinclair get recruited or something like that? Because he did all of this in a sewer. In a sewer.
Tony Stark built this in a cave!
Yeah. But I was like, nah, they don't need to. They have enough geniuses. They'll just take the tech and like, figure out their own ways to modify it.
Yeah. Honestly, if they can recruit Puri Prisoner, they might recruit D.A. Sinclair too, because they're both criminals. But ultimately, as you said, like, we have Kuseno, we have Child Emperor, we have Metal Knight. Child Emperor interacting with these could also be fun, just like...
Agreed. Especially considering this would be a way to, like, return dead heroes too, because they can be done to dead people to make them stronger.
Yeah. Dude, they bring back Flashy Flash after he got bodied by Battle Beast or something.
And he's amped too.
Yeah. If you died. God. If you didn't, then it's irrelevant, but like... They would utilize the Reanimen A-class heroes if they haven't been dismantled yet.
Yeah.
Or something.
Oh god.
Because the Hero Association is super shady. They throw gladiator matches between like dead heroes and like demon level monsters. And they would make profits of that. Like, we see, like, literal, like, hero gambling going on, like, in the more recent chapters. They would totally do that.
That's wild. Oh my gosh.
They might.
Mark better be thankful that the GDA is much better, because, like, holy.
Yeah, honestly. It would be insane.
Yeah.
And, I guess, moving on, this was very fun, but ultimately not a massive threat, like, in the grand scheme of things. What is a massive threat is we now actually get to Omni-Man arriving.
Our first Viltrumite invader.
Yep, and one of the strongest, coincidentally.
Yep.
So, first of all, let's establish the scenario. He lands in City Q and squashes Watchdog Man.
Yep.
Obviously.
He sees this as like the bastion of the bastion of humanity because there's no monsters there. He sees a man in a fursuit and he's like, "Oh, are you the strongest? Okay, clap," and dead.
Yep. Yep. And then, after that, we can get into his scaling, now that we've established that very important fact to satisfy my bloodthirst towards Watchdog Man. How does Omni-Man actually scale?
Now, up first, I already mentioned he should have the same type of arguments I mentioned with Battle Beast to get him to planet level because of how much he should scale above moon level from Mark and his feats, but also has an additional weird feat where, like, this is really weird. Like, you don't have to fully believe this isn't the only way to get Omni-Man to planet level, but it's more just additional evidence. Effectively, when Alan the Alien is talking about his planet, he mentions that his planet was destroyed, and if you think it was done in one go, there are 3 ways to calculate it. In Alan the Alien's flashback, he sees a total of 21 Viltrumites. In Omni-Man's flashback, he sees 12, and if you combine them together, they see 33. Either way, it gets to some degree of small planetary. Now, granted, like I said, this isn't the only way to get them to planetary. There is upscaling off the respective feats, and this is just assuming every single Viltrumite put in equal effort, when it's more than likely Omni-Man put in even greater effort in comparison to them. And yeah, basically no matter what, Omni-Man should be planetary. And, like, faster than light. Because he should scale above people like Robot, who can fire out lasers. Like, laser people are pretty average. The Flaxans fire lasers. So, just to put that into perspective.
Yep. So, all in all, like, bare minimum small planetary, probably more likely planetary, would be the range for Omni-Man. Especially since, okay, this is, like, a massive comic spoiler, so, like, skip ahead by probably about a minute or 2. I'll put a timestamp on screen. But in the destruction of the Viltrum planet, you know, like, the massive feat that everybody talks about, that probably isn't so much a spoiler nowadays, because considering that everybody talks about it, it takes 3 Viltrumites to destroy, like, a very, like, special, like, huge planet with high gravity, right? Like, from what I know.
Yep.
So, ultimately, like, they weaken a large planet and destroy it, like, together, all 3 of them at the same time. Which should still get to, like, at least small planetary, probably closer to planetary, if you consider Viltrum to be, like, a large planet. So, 3 of them destroying a large planet, like, while the planet is weakened, should probably get to around planetary as well. And according to a lot of calcs, it does.
Yeah.
And even narratively, like, that should make sense. Yeah, so Omni-Man should be planetary for this video. All the heroes, except 2, are kind of useless. Not like completely useless, but like, yeah, kinda useless. We have literally 2 heroes who make up like 95% of the S-Class total power, which is Genos in his 10-second mode and Tatsumaki. Tatsumaki carrying the weight like even more than Genos, obviously.
Yep.
Because while the other heroes top out around a couple one-shot tiers below Sage Centipede, who is around small planetary, and Orochi, who is also around small planetary, Tatsumaki literally just, like, upscales from Orochi to an insane degree, absolutely ludicrous, because we have Orochi, just his suck force alone, small planetary. Then his actual attacks, his actual Gaia Cannon should probably hit a little bit harder than that. Saitama cancels that out and one-shots him. Orochi comes back and thinks he can turn Saitama into fodder. Then he gets even stronger by absorbing tons of power from the surrounding area, from the roots that he spreads across like the entire city and eventually the entire planet. And he gets so much stronger that he goes from not threatening Tatsumaki at all to like Tatsumaki actually sweating and thinking like, what is this? There is no possible way merely combining monsters could result in such power. But that's not all, because she literally one-shots this thing while bloodied, bruised, fatigued, because she's literally having to divide her attention all the time and save other people, and she gets hit because of that a lot. So like, Tatsumaki literally replicates that same one-shot level of energy that she like used to one-shot Sairochi with a flick when she's healthy, because we have Fubuki literally comparing them. Like, she says, oh, my sister's using her full power against Tatsumaki, and the full power in question would be the one that she sensed against Sairochi, since she literally sensed that. And then Tatsumaki, right after that, just goes, nope, I can go a lot further, let me amp myself a little higher, and then literally flicks Saitama and says, this might not kill you, after he literally just withstood the force that one-shot Sairochi. So like,
Yep.
like Tatsumaki is like the most underrated character in One Punch Man, I feel, which is strange to say, but like, it kind of just is true. Like, she's, like, a lot of people put her at multi-continental. I don't think that's accurate anymore at all. Because, like, she just upscales so much from small planetary that it's actually insane. Sorry for the rant, but I had to get it out there one final time.
No, it's fine. Like, yeah. So, I don't like, if Tatsumaki goes all from the start, obviously Omni-Man is dying. But Omni-Man, I think, does Omni-Man have a speed advantage here?
That's a question, because Tatsumaki does react to Sonic, who later fights Flashy Flash, and Flashy Flash is like a lot of tiers above Lightspeed. So,
yeah.
I don't know exactly how they would compare. Okay, here's the scenario as I envision it. Omni-Man arrives, kills Watchdog Man. Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Afterwards, he would probably try to establish dominance by, like, flying past a city and destroying it just to show, like, yeah, this is real. Like, that's probably what he would maybe do. Or, like, at the very least, he would cause some major havoc. Probably several other heroes would show up, and he would kill several S-Class, I imagine. Like, Nolan is a very big threat, like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's just that Tatsumaki literally makes up 95% of the S-Class total power level, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
So, like, eventually they would call on Tatsumaki, and then that battle would be legendary, but ultimately I do see Tatsumaki winning.
Yeah, I think Tatsumaki just wins, honestly. Like, I think Tatsumaki would be sent out pretty early if they saw this happening.
Yeah. Omni-Man would definitely cause a lot of casualties and, like, destroy a city, body several heroes, probably a couple S-Class if they were, like, close to the scene. And then Tatsumaki would ultimately put a stop to him.
Yeah.
And this isn't even getting into, like, the arsenal advantage that she has, because, like, we know she can literally reach her psychic powers into other people's bodies. Like, we see her, like, grab a hold of a pill of poison inside of Fubuki and just pulling it out. So, like, what's to stop her from doing the same thing to somebody's heart if she so chose?
Yep.
Like, this might not be in character, but, like, just saying, like, it is absolutely ridiculous.
Or, worst case scenario, she just sends Omni-Man to the sun.
Maybe. I'm not sure if she could do that. She can definitely casually fling people into space. Like, she even tells herself, like, yeah, Saitama should be flipped into space right now. Why is he still here? Like, when she's unleashing her power on him. So, like, she definitely could do a space toss, but a sun toss, I'm not entirely sure about. Probably not.
Yeah, fair. So, like, Omni-Man's probably gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, especially because, like, the Viltrumite Empire has a very might above all type of mentality. So I don't see Omni-Man running away until, like, I just don't see him running away.
Yeah. So ultimately, Tatsumaki would probably stop Omni-Man, is basically what we're getting at.
Yep.
But not without casualties. Like, the casualties would be severe.
Definitely. So now we're getting into Darkwing 2, who I actually thought of something really fun for it. Okay, let me cook for a second.
This is like... This is just like... Broly just arrived and, like, bodied, like, a lot of the main cast, and then, like, Goku and Vegeta had to do a fusion to defeat him. And then the next villain is, like, Raditz.
It's me, Garlic Jr.
Yeah.
So
this is legitimately what happens in One Punch Man too. Like, if it wasn't for Saitama, Boros would have just decimated everybody and Blast would have had to beat him. And then the next villain is like Garo in human form.
Alright.
Kind of also funny.
So here's what I have for like Darkwing 2, right? As we know, Watchdog Man is now dead in this timeline, right? So it's pretty easy to assume City Q would be corrupted by heroes. Or villains. Or monsters. Unimportant. Anyways. So with that being said, a hero wants to take his place named Darkwing 2, who has been murdering people. We don't think anyone would fight them. The Hero Association would just recruit him.
Yeah, literally. Like, criminals in One Punch Man can be killed or taken into custody at any time. Like, they wouldn't have a problem with them. Like, they literally recruited Puri Prisoner. You think they're not going to recruit Darkwing 2 with his, like, Dark Dimension type deal, too? Like,
yep.
Honestly,
and
like, legitimately, they would just send, like, a government agent to him and offer him a job and pay.
Yeah, and the only reason Darkwing 2 even fought against Invincible and was a villain was because he was Omni-Man's son. He wouldn't do that in this timeline.
Yep.
Yep.
So yeah, basically we have, to replace Puri Prisoner, Watchdog Man, and whoever Nolan killed, we get Darkwing 2 as a hero now. Probably A class or B class, probably around somewhere there.
Yeah, I mean, he's strong enough to take, like, an invincible... Like, his suit is strong enough to take the punches of No Goggles Mark, which is pretty good, so, yeah.
So, yeah, we got a break here. Next up is... why don't you get into this one? This one's kind of weird.
The Depth Dweller, the ocean fish thingy, the giant lobster that Invincible fought in Season 2, which has the sound weakness that can be exploited. So we weren't too sure who was going to fight them other than one person, and like I could go explain what the Depth Dweller stats is, but that's kind of irrelevant of who's going to fight them, because...
The person who would fight him is Tatsumaki. Like, let's be honest, nobody else is heading down into the ocean depths. Like, it's gonna be Tatsumaki in a bubble, probably, of her own creation, and rest in peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, moving on.
So, yeah. Now we have our first ever double villain at once. King Lizard and his Lizard League, as well as that demon Komodo Dragon, and the Sequids at the same time, which both of these things are going to be happening at the same time. The Hero Association is going to need to force their attention to be split. But something that I found pretty interesting is the GDA didn't want to just immediately erase the Sequid ship because there was Martians on it, but more importantly, there was an astronaut on Earth named Russ Livingston that they wanted to rescue. Would the Hero Association care?
No.
Yeah, so...
that is kind of the simple answer there. Like, they would legitimately just toss him into the grinder.
Yeah, like, well, I just see, like, Metal Knight just fires his cannon and, like, the Sequids are all just erased. Like, as interesting as a taunt.
Yeah, like, he fires, like, a nuke, like, barrage at them, and it's kind of GG's from there.
Yeah, as interesting as I think the Sequids' abilities would be, and they'd certainly be a threat, they're not risking that.
Yeah.
Be gone.
Ultimately, like, Metal Knight would spot the ship incoming, he would probably scan it with Jones, he would see, like, it's infected with some alien parasite, and then it's like, okay, goodbye.
Yeah.
That's literally what he wanted to do against the Monster Association as well. Like, he wanted to nuke him, and that wouldn't have worked on, like, Orochi, but would have worked on, like, a lot of the weaker monsters. And the thing is here, the only reason they didn't just nuke them into oblivion is because they had, like, a Hero Association executive like Fonder's son as a hostage. So here it's just some random Joe. They tossed Joes like this into the grinder.
Yeah.
On a daily basis.
But now we can talk about King Lizard, and more importantly, the Lizard League, and more importantly than any of them, the only person that actually matters, Komodo Dragon. Now that's the guy who bites off Rex's hand, and that's also the guy who can tussle with the Immortal for a bit. So you can reasonably get him to, like, mountain level, but you can also get him higher. Effectively, Immortal is able to cause more damage to Omni-Man than what Omni-Man caused when destroying Flaxa. Effectively, when Omni-Man was destroying the planet, he didn't take any damage whatsoever from the large country-level impacts he was causing. Meanwhile, the Immortal should have caused more damage. Now, granted, he didn't cause that much damage to Omni-Man. Omni-Man was weakened when he fought Immortal because when Viltrumites take damage and the more damage they take, the weakened they get. So it wasn't too impressive. You can reasonably scale him above large country level, and then you can also get Komodo Dragon in that same tier, which sounds so weird, because Komodo Dragon is part of the Lizard
Sounds really
League.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, literally, we were joking about this the other day. Literally, like, all the other guys are just sitting partying while the Komodo Dragon just does all the workouts, all the grinds, he drinks all the juice sticks, all the steroids. Meanwhile, the others are just, like, sitting in the background cheering him on, and then they ride on his back to all their victories.
They
Like,
legit have
he's
no
the only
feats.
one putting in work.
They do nothing. The only good one is Komodo Dragon, and the only reason I put King Lizard on the picture in the tier list instead of Komodo Dragon was because I was too lazy to find Komodo Dragon. I want to establish that.
Yep. So ultimately, what this comes down to is the others get taken out by, like, Mumen Rider. Because legitimately, Mumen Rider did defeat a monster that shrugged off gunshots from the police, and these guys legitimately use guns.
Yeah.
So, like, Mumen Rider honestly does defeat a lot of them, and then he might get killed by Komodo Dragon, but we'll just say, like, somebody else comes in and saves him, like Saitama did from the Deep Seeking. So whoever it is would have to be, like, a middle tier S-class hero, probably somebody like Drive Knight could probably be pretty interesting, seeing him, like, strategize around Komodo Dragon's brute strength. Or, like, Darkshine could also come in, just like a pure power tussle.
Yep.
Which would be pretty bad for Komodo Dragon. By the way, we were also laughing about this before the recording. Back in the Battle Beast scenario, if they did send in the strike team, and Darkshine was on that team instead of, like, Flashy Flash, he would have just walked straight up to Battle Beast and been like, "Yo, I hear you're looking for a challenge. Me too, I'm right here, I'm the man, let's go." And then,
Long have I awaited a worthy challenge. If this brings about the end of my life, I will savor it even more.
bring stimulation to my existence, dies.
Yep. Like, oh. That was... Oh.
It would legitimately be Boros versus Saitama, but the fight ends after the first punch.
Yeah.
It just would not go well for Darkshine. But against Komodo Dragon, Darkshine would body, so...
Yep. Thankfully for him. Up next, we have round 2 of Viltrumite Invasion. Anissa.
Okay, hold on 1 second. One
gotcha.
second for... I need to go, like, greet somebody, and then I'll be back.
Got it. Alrighty. How funny would it be if I just started watching What If Boros Turned Good and he was forced to rehear it, like one of the audio... Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Episode 8. The Opera House Massacre.
Okay, so now we're getting round 2 with Viltrumite Invasion. We got Anissa up, who's going to... I think she's just gonna die pretty fast, to be honest. Because I think, like, they're gonna be prepared after what Omni-Man did and just immediately send Tatsumaki.
Yeah, after what Omni-Man did, like, Omni-Man was a canon event in this universe, let's be clear about that. Like, even if Tatsumaki did defeat him in the end, this would have been like Orochi going on a rampage. Like, that would have destroyed a lot of area and killed a lot of people. So, ultimately, that would have been a massive wake-up call to, like, be on the lookout for these Viltrumite fellows. And the moment one arrives, like, the immediate response would just be to send Tatsumaki, like, that's just kind of how it goes. And then Anissa would probably try to convince her to, like, join the Viltrum Empire, because that's what she does. And Tatsumaki would just... We literally have a canon panel of her saying that sounds stupid to, like, a master villain's plan and whatnot, so that's basically what would happen here. She would say that's stupid. And then they would fight, and Anissa's speed, maybe, could be a problem if you want to go into that.
Anissa is effectively faster than Omni-Man. Like, she's just straight up stated to be faster than Omni-Man, and yeah.
Yep. Which is good, but Tatsumaki, again, can be argued to scale to Flashy Flash, which is also post-Monster Association Flashy Flash, who was also stronger and faster than Monster Association Flashy Flash, who was already just so many tiers above Genos, the one who dodged lasers, and like he was making constellations in the sky. So, the Viltrumites ultimately probably shouldn't have a speed advantage over Tatsumaki, like even the speedy ones.
Yeah.
So ultimately I do see Tatsumaki winning this one.
Agreed. And I think they just... There's no casualties here because they're seeing another Viltrumite and they are not risking that. Not again.
Yeah. Anissa would probably be one to talk to. Like, she would probably just hover above, like, a city, like, threatening to destroy it if nobody comes to talk to her about the greatness of the Viltrum Empire. Let me talk to you about our Lord and Savior.
I honestly see a pretty good chance Anissa doesn't even fight them, to be honest. Because her task was just to make sure they join.
Yeah, honestly, true.
And she told them, someone worse is going to come if you guys don't agree to join. And, like, the main reason why I see her not fighting them is because she knows they killed Omni-Man. She knows they killed Nolan. She's not screwing with that.
Yep. Honestly, like, she would just come as, like, a harbinger of what is going to happen if you don't join us, like...
On some full Silver Surfer energy.
Yeah. So, ultimately, like, Tatsumaki might not let her go. Like, if she just grabs a hold of her with psychic powers, a fight still might break out. Yeah. But she might also just get away. Like, it could happen.
True. They might just take Anissa prisoner.
Yeah, it could be. Like in your latest story, actually. So, if you want to see a take on GDA Mark, what if Mark was raised by the GDA? We have, conveniently, a guy here who has made a series on that. So, Anissa was just taken prisoner, so let's go. Yep, you can check it out.
And now let's move on to Angstrom.
Yep.
And
one of the
Angstrom's
biggest haters in fiction. Like, dude is a hating master. Like, a masterclass in hating, right up there with Dio, the Shredder 2012, and, like, Lex Luthor from the newest movie. Like, he's up there.
Yeah. Here's the thing that I just thought of Angstrom. Who would he target here? Because, like, here's the thing. It's not like heroes are going to come to him. He's targeting one of them.
Yeah, honestly, just, like, would anybody even interrupt his, like, initial plan to, like, get the cure to cancer and, like, everything else in his brain so that he could fix the world? Like, would anybody even interrupt that?
No, not real. Oh my gosh, wait. Angstrom might actually just work with the Hero Association to deal with the Multiverse of Evil Marks.
Honestly, true. He would just be like, yo, I hear you have this Tatsumaki who just killed Nolan. Mind if I, like... could you come along? Yeah, could you come along with me? Like, I need you to do some cleanup work in, like, some universes I'm aware of. And, like, Tatsumaki would probably be down, too, because, like, she wants a challenge. She is also, like, not as much accentuated as somebody like Battle Beast or Darkshine, but she does want a challenge. Like it's stated in her battle with Saitama, she does find fun in battles that are actually close. So, ultimately, like, she might just agree, just because, like, oh, that Nolan guy was pretty fun, let's go. There's more.
And like that, we have our excuse for why Tatsumaki is not going to be in the other fights. She's busy going on a Mark purge.
You know what? Let's go. We're excluding Tatsumaki from the next few fights, which actually could be problematic in this next one.
Yep, Doc Seismic, the man who somehow captured every single hero on Earth, including Immortal, including Mark, including Adam Eve in Season 3, just because he said he got stronger when Mark said, "You're not supposed to be this strong," and he's like, "Things change."
Things change. just out of nowhere. Not for the heroes, though. The heroes, like... I think, like, Invincible and Adam Eve are, like, the only ones that get, like, a noticeable, like, amp. Because, like, at least in their performances, like, Adam Eve does seem stronger in later seasons to me, like, for some reason. But, yeah, aside from those two, this only applies to the villains. It's like, things change. Only the villains, though.
Yeah.
But do you want to go into how insane, like, his, like, arsenal is? Just, like, him plus his allies?
I've already talked a bit about how, like, Immortal should scale when I was talking about Komodo Dragon, and Doc Seismic straight up scales above that. I also talked about Mark's moon level feat. You see, here's the thing about that, right? Doc Seismic has these random centipedes, and for some reason, one of them is strong enough. I'm not saying, like, not even all of them together when combined. No, one of them is strong enough to take his punches and break his suit and pierce him with poison. And Doc Seismic can knock him out.
Yeah, and Invincible, like, logically speaking, he shouldn't really be holding back against these, like, evil centipede monsters. Like, they're not humans that he would want to keep alive. Not saying that they're, like, planet level, but, like...
Yeah.
At the same time, like, logically speaking, like, Invincible should be putting in at least some effort to, like, defeat them.
Yeah, and they do get defeated by the Reanimen. I should also make that clear, but, like, getting defeated by the Reanimen is not bad. Like, keep in mind, these are the same things that captured every hero on Earth. At bare minimum, large country level for capturing the Immortal. And you can get them higher because
maybe not Earth, maybe just America.
Sorry,
right?
just America, whatever. Important thing is, the only actual heroes worth value are from America. So I'm like,
America, baby.
Technically speaking, yes, he did only capture the heroes from America. The other heroes don't matter. They captured Invincible.
Yep. So ultimately, like, if he pulls off this sneak attack and like somehow gets all the S-Class, then breaking out would be really difficult because Invincible couldn't.
Yeah.
For some reason. Like, I guess the inside is just a lot stronger than the outside of the shell because like the Reanimen break it open from the outside later.
Agreed. That's always been my explanation too, because it's the only thing that actually makes sense, considering this is the same Invincible that can tear through them. Either that or Invincible just wasn't recovered by this point, because, fun fact about Viltrumites, they get weaker the more and more damage they take. This is how Angstrom was able to fight Mark in Season 2. He straight up says this. Like, it's forgotten that Viltrumites get nerfed with damage, so that might be it too, and he's just not fully recovered yet, but even then, it's still impressive, because, like, Immortal couldn't break it. Or Adam Eve.
Yep. So, first of all, Elder Centipede and Sage Centipede would totally team up with this guy. Like, they would legitimately just become pals with the centipedes in the earth. Now, we are kind of replacing the monsters from One Punch Man with the monsters with the villains from Invincible. So, they're not going to actually team up, but, like, at the same time, that's just fun to think about. Like, he would also have, like, Fraud Centipede and Elder Centipede in his ranks, too. If this was, like, canon.
Oh god, you get a god amp.
Yeah, oh my god. So...
Cosmic Fear, Doc Seismic.
Yeah. Imagine, like, earlier on, Tatsumaki is beating Omni-Man, and then, like, God shows up in the form of Thrag to, like, take his hand. Oh no.
Oh no.
Okay, well, let's not say God intervenes.
Yeah, God's just not here. He doesn't want to be here. Blast is holding him off.
Yeah, God is like on that space adventure with Boros and Saitama that I mentioned earlier. Like, he's also
and
there.
Blast is there too.
Yep. King is also there because like we all know King would solo. So yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, Tatsumaki carries.
Yep. I had a fun matchup in mind for this, because there's one person who I think might actually end up joining them alongside, like, to fight against Doc Seismic if he captured every hero on the Earth. And just to make it a 2v1, like what happened in the actual manga, Garo and Metal Bat.
Yeah. No, up against the Centipede, just like the old times.
Yep.
Okay, Metal Bat would honestly just, like, the more beat up he gets, the stronger he becomes. So, like, he would be the ultimate matchup for somebody else that we will talk about too. But, honestly, Garo just, like, would look at this, would look at all the heroes captured, and he'd be like, yo, that's my kills you're stealing, what the hell? And, like, he would probably go down there, he could.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, if this is human Garo, he's not gonna be able to do much, unfortunately. Honestly, though, human Garo could probably break open the shells, like, from the outside. And if that's the case, then we can get the rest of the S-Class. Like, honestly, the Hero Association, if they get word that, like, all the heroes have been captured, they might just start hiring, like, Sonic, for example, to, like, break them out.
Yeah.
Like, if they know what's going on.
Which they definitely would.
Or, like, Child Emperor from the inside could communicate with Metal Knight, who is not going to be captured, because that man is God knows where.
Yep.
He's, like, in hiding constantly, so, like, I don't think Doc Seismic would find him. So, eventually he could send some of his robots the same way that Reanimen were sent to, like, break them out. And, like, Doc Seismic monologues, like, he wouldn't just, like, kill them off rip, like, he would monologue a ton.
Yeah.
And eventually the S-Class would just break out, and then we have all the S-Class, minus Tatsumaki, because she's out there hunting Invincible variants, versus Doc Seismic. Metal Bat versus the Centipedes would be a cool callback, because, like, Metal Bat also fights a lot of Centipedes in the story, surprisingly. Like, he fights Senior, Elder, and Sage Centipedes. Like, all the he literally, Metalbat fought every single centipede in One Punch Man. I just realized, like, every single centipede we see, Metalbat has fought for some reason.
He's going hunting. He wants more smoke.
Dude, like, they called Zoro the minority hunter. Metalbat is the centipede hunter.
He wants more smoke. But long story short, like, they are gonna likely figure out the way to beat them is taking out Doc Seismic, because then he can no longer command them, and yeah.
Yeah, and Flashy Flash is gonna be right on that. Like, he would be right for the kill there. Same with Drive Knight also, just like, but like, whatever the case is, somebody out there would just kill him eventually. So, like, they also hold, like, pretty good speed advantages over him, like Bang, Flashy Flash, Atomic would all hold pretty good speed advantages. So really, the S-Class only needs to hold the centipedes off long enough for somebody to kill Doc Seismic, which a lot of people could do. And if Genos has his 10-second mode, then he could straight up just nuke all the centipedes too, because like that mode is clashing equally with Sairochi, who we already kind of covered earlier. Like, it's pretty nutty.
Yep. So, up next is downgrading from this planet-level threat of Doc Seismic, for no reason, by the way. We have Dropkick and Fight Master, two above human-level combatants, who I don't even actually think would go, like, in combat. I think they just straight up go to Hero Association, ask for help.
Probably, I would imagine. If not, Mumen Rider victims, once again.
Mumen Rider, no!
Mumen Rider would honestly kind of maybe talk to them like, guys, what are you doing? And they would talk it out, and then Mumen Rider brings them to the association.
Yeah. And they find out about the, like, future Immortal, which makes things kind of funny. Does that mean the Immortal is just, like, some random guy here? Now that I think about it. He retired. He doesn't want to be in hero life.
Yeah, he's just out there chilling in a cabin.
We'll talk about the future Immortal in a second, because first we have a few more fights to go through.
Yeah.
Which, up first, is Multipole, who... Multipole I don't think would target anyone, because Kate's not dying, because there's no situation where that happens. But I think he'd be the target of somebody else.
Yep. Flashy Flash ultimately would be hunting Mr. Liu's entire gang.
Yeah.
Maybe even Sonic as well, but like, we're only doing heroes, so like, we're just gonna get Flashy Flash. Funny how Flashy Flash features a lot in this video, but like,
yep,
that kind of is narratively appropriate, considering that his whole shtick is like, yeah, I killed every single mob boss in existence, so eventually it would come down to like Mr. Leo and his goons as well, which Multipole would be included in that, and like, okay, technically speaking, if I was to play devil's advocate, he did hold back Invincible somehow, like a very, very suppressed Invincible, but Flashy Flash just kind of blitzes and murders all of them.
Yep.
Like, he would have no problem murdering humans, by the way. Like, he already murdered a ton of them.
He brings the Multipole bodies over to Dr. Kusano and's like, make this into army, Reanimen.
Yep. After they adopted the Reanimen technology, they totally would.
Yeah, jeez. But we'll get into how, like, the Mr. Liu fares against them soon. Because up first we have the Mauler Twins coming back, but they have a stun gun. Which, the stun gun is so stupid in how it works.
Yeah, technically if they were hit by it, a lot of heroes could go down.
Yeah.
But then again, we have a lot of heroes who could also just, like, dodge it.
I will say
easily.
this, though. The stun gun is not as absolute as people think, because for someone like Invincible, it actually took 2 shots for him to properly be stunned in comparison to the others, which means it does have, like, your power can make it differentiate in its effects, or at least your durability.
Yep.
So, like, it's
a funny
good,
interaction would be Bang, because he can legitimately deflect beams. We actually see that. So, like, he could just deflect it back at them.
Yeah. No, I'm just imagining, like, Bang brings Genos along, Genos sees the stun gun, and is just like, yoink, mine now.
Yep, he incorporates it into his own technology, he brings it to Kuseno to upgrade himself.
Finally, with this I can beat Saitama.
He would try.
No effect. But yeah, the Mauler Twins aren't winning. I've already talked about why the Mauler Twins aren't that strong, and the stun gun isn't going to do much in this world, depending on who's sent. Like, if it's a cyborg, they're just immune to it. A lot of people can dodge it, and yeah.
So, now we get into the aforementioned future Immortal. And who would be sent is, like, up in the air, but, like, if they send any of the really high-tier heroes like Flashy Flash or Bang, or, like, a combination of the two of them, or, like, 10-second Genos, a lot of them should probably have ways to deal with the Immortal.
Yep.
Because they would also just downscale again from Fraud Centipede and Orochi, who are small planetary each, or like bare minimum multi-continental. So
Yeah.
these heroes can just pretty comfortably be in the multi-continental ranges, which is like the Immortal's sort of higher end scaling.
Yep. And while Future Immortal is stronger than his present counterpart, he doesn't scale anywhere near a season 3 mark. So, yeah.
Yeah, ultimately, it would be decapitation from Flashy Flash, or just like complete beatdown from Bang eventually, just like to all the pressure points in his body to the point that he's paralyzed, at least temporarily. And then at that point, they could crush his head or do something to like just finish him off for good.
Yeah. And they're just going to keep this in mind for the future. Like, okay, who is this guy? Let's make sure he doesn't end up going down this path.
Flashy Flash would just take it up on himself to track down present Immortal, who's just kind of sitting there in his hut one day, like Thanos in his farm, and then eventually, like, the heroes just bust down the door, like, yo, goodbye.
And he's just dead.
Yep.
But unfortunately, Flashy Flash will be a bit busy, because he won't be able to do it, because he's going to have to fight against Mr. Liu.
Ooh, good segue, good segue.
Yep.
So, Mr. Liu is like the big mob boss, even above Machine Head. And do you want to talk about how ludicrously overpowered this guy is?
So, I've been gassing up Invincible from Season 3 this entire video. Mr. Liu physically dominated him, broke his suit, made him bleed, was going to kill him if it wasn't for Machine Head, who knew what Mr. Liu's weakness was, which was eliminating his original body, and shot that and caught him off guard. Without that, Mr. Liu would have won the fight against Mark. He's not just physically strong and durable and fast, he's also immortal to physical damage unless you kill the original body. Without that, you can't kill him.
Yep. It is ludicrous how strong this guy is just out of nowhere. Ultimately, a lot of heroes are just not going to be able to take him down. A lot of heroes could outspeed him, but not take him out. Like, regardless, even if they could damage him somehow, which I doubt that most of them could, he could still just regenerate. How I see it going is, like, eventually Genos goes into his 10-second mode to, like, stop him and to erase him from existence, and then he just comes back.
Yeah.
Like, could he come back from total vaporization?
Yes, because it's not his actual body. It's not his actual body, just get resummoned.
Yeah, so ultimately, like, a lot of the heroes might just, like, have to retreat or get eventually tired out and caught lacking and killed. So, what they would have to do is they would have to find the real Mr. Liu, and unless, like, somebody like Flashy Flash has prior intel from, like, doing research on him, I don't think that would really happen.
Same.
But eventually, like, Tatsumaki would come back from her, like, interdimensional invincible hunt and she could just toss him into space. Could he conjure a new body?
Yeah.
Probably, right? She would just keep tossing him into space while the Hero Association looks into countermeasures and, like, what is this Mr. Liu guy? And eventually probably could find his real body and kill him, but, like, it would be a really extended struggle.
Mr. Liu is like the hardest person for them to overcome, unironically.
Yeah, even above Nolan and Anissa, like, it's actually kind of insane.
Yep. Like, it's funny that the two hardest challenges so far has been Mr. Liu and Doc Seismic.
Yeah, to be fair,
Oh, and
Doc
Machine Head,
Seismic
and
is
Machine
because
Head.
Tatsumaki was off on, like, an invincible hunt.
True.
Canonically here, but yeah. All in all, Mr. Liu is, like, the biggest threat so far, which is kind of crazy.
Yep. And up next, we got Lightning Boy himself, the Angry Yeller Powerplex.
Also one of those haters. Metal Bat, as we already touched upon earlier, would be the dream matchup because they would legitimately just keep making each other stronger till the end of time. Like, they would just keep hitting each other. Like, Metal Bat hits him, Powerplex hits him back with that same power, Bat gets pumped up, he hits him again with stronger power, and it just repeats.
Not even just that same power. Powerplex amplifies the power he absorbs greatly. Keep in mind, after just getting hit by a sledgehammer from a normal human, he is capable of doing, not just one hit, like several sledgehammer hits, but still from a normal human nonetheless. He's capable of doing some minor amount of damage to Invincible and pushing him around. Keep in mind, that's a normal human hitting him with a sledgehammer that did this.
Yep, it is ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, it's clearly, like, there's some type of multiplication, which also makes sense, because, like, the discs he, like, has are storage for energy, and they won't, so, yeah. But Powerplex is crazy. He kills an Invincible variant in the Invincible War, which is also pretty insane, because, like...
He's kind of T-posing on him and, like, grinning like a maniac, just laughing like the Joker.
Yeah. Which Invincible variant should at least scale above Invincible in, like, Season 1, I think is pretty fair to say, if not Invincible Season 2 as well. Which is very consistent with all the feats Powerplex shows off. And, yeah.
Yep, so ultimately, him and Metalbat just kind of hit each other a lot, and both get bumped up to, like, small planet level, because that's Metalbat speak that we've seen. Which is kind of crazy to imagine, but, like, if that is the case, then, like, Powerplex just solos a lot of people. But if Metalbat isn't the one to fight him, and it's, for example, Flashy Flash again, he's just gonna go for the decapitation instantly. And I don't think he's getting stronger from getting decapitated.
Yeah, sword slashes slashes are a very good counter to him. We know if you pin him down, he will eventually be forced to use all of the energy he's stored. So that's also a good counter to him. But it depends on how fast
Dark Shine would just kind of like pin him down to the ground.
Yeah. The issue is I don't see Dark Shine doing that immediately.
Yeah. Like, he would probably hit him a few times, and then eventually it would be like the Garo effect. Like, he thinks, maybe in some reality of this fight, I could lose, and then he would just crumble because of that.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it takes. For Darkshine, it's like, get seriously nerfed instantly, just from that thought alone. Ultimately, the best counters would be like Flashy Flash, Drive Knight, Child Emperor, those who could go for the kill immediately or like poison him or something, like Child Emperor for example. Other than that, people like Bang would be horrible matchups because like Bang couldn't instantly put him down unless he could knock him out with like a pressure point strike or something, but like overall his power would just keep like rising and rising against somebody like Bang.
Yeah, which is just yikes. So, like, Powerplex is one of the harsher threats to deal with.
Yeah, but ultimately not that threatening. Like, there are plenty of people who could deal with him.
Yep, but it's also pretty interesting because from, like, what Satsuri's told me, no one has had to fight against someone like Powerplex, aside from Garo as a threat. It was, like, the closest to a Powerplex type of power in the One Punch Man verse.
Yeah, especially since, like, some heroes would hold back to not kill him immediately, and that could ultimately be their downfall. Like, Metalbat would hold back, Silverfang would hold back. A lot of these heroes who are kind of pure-hearted would hold back, like Tank Top Master, for example, and that would allow Powerplex to grow a lot. Question is, who would Powerplex hate on in this verse, in this universe?
I actually have a funny one. You know how Saitama destroys the meteor?
Yeah.
That ends up destroying one of the apartments and his family in it. So he hates on Saitama.
Dude. Another hater for Saitama. He would be like Sonic, like a recurring villain of the week for Saitama to deal with.
And it's like even funnier, it's like, Powerplex, I can absorb whatever power you use on me. The kinetic energy just gets one punched anyways.
Yeah, just too much.
Nice hacks. Now get punched, idiot.
Yep, Dragon Ball logic.
Yeah.
Yep. So, next up, and the final matchup of the day, is gonna be the big bad boss himself, my favorite character in Invincible.
Stand ready for my arrival, worm. I am Conquest.
I am so lonely. All the other Viltrumites are scared of me. No one wants to be my friend. They think I am unstable. They send me from planet to planet committing atrocities in their name. And as I get better at it, they fear me more and more.
It's in the name, he's here to conquer. Where does Conquest stack up?
Now, Conquest, as we talked about, should be in a similar league to Battle Beast, if not even greater. He is stated straight up to be stronger than Omni-Man. Now, I do want to note this. I'm only talking about Battle Beast currently in the show. I'm not talking about Battle Beast in the comics, just off feats in the show. I know that people will be mad about me if I just said Battle Beast was stronger than Conquest was stronger than Battle Beast. Okay? Okay.
Yep.
But, like, basically, Conquest should be straight up stronger than Omni-Man by Cecil's own statement, because they say they don't even think that Nolan could take him down. So apply all the scaling that I talked about with Omni-Man and how he should scale to basically planetary, and you can add Conquest power to that. And hell, if you really wanted to, you could argue, and I don't really believe in this argument, but I do want to bring this up. People have argued that Cecil was only talking about casual Conquest and not Conquest's full power. Now, I don't think that argument fully works because Cecil has bone density scanners, so he should be able to read their power level, but if you do believe he was only talking about casual Conquest, you can add a one-shot level on top of that, which is insane.
Yeah, that would be insanely busted. So, overall, Conquest is a beast. Obviously, nobody is really stacking up to him from the regular cast, not even 10-second Genos or Peak Metal Bat. 10-second Genos, maybe, because, like, he would scale pretty high into planet level himself, but it's only for 10 seconds, and Conquest would ultimately just outlast him.
Yep.
So, again, it comes down to Tatsumaki, which, by the way, can I just say, I love how Conquest's theme, literal theme, is called the second strongest Weltramite.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Just to call that out. But yeah, Tatsumaki is gonna be the only one standing before him, like, really, realistically speaking. I will say, thank God Puri already died in this scenario, because otherwise we would have the ugliest freak-off in the history of freak-offs going on with Conquest and Puri. Let's not. So Tatsumaki and Conquest go at it, and someone's actually already made a video on it, my buddy Saitama World, so you can check that out if you want to. It has different interpretations for Conquest and Tatsumaki a little bit too, so I will say, like, this is sort of an alternate take. I do think Tatsumaki ultimately has the advantage, considering that she's at least on par with Conquest in power, probably greater.
Agreed.
And then she also has a move arsenal advantage as well. So I would say that ultimately Tatsumaki should be able to take him out, but it would be a badass fight no matter what. Like,
100%.
Conquest just coming down, the thread that's stronger than, like, any other Viltrumite so far, as Anissa pointed out. Tatsumaki would honestly probably be hyped for the battle, just like after Anissa told her that somebody far worse than Nolan even is coming. Tatsumaki would be, like, hyped. She would be, like, just...
Hell yeah.
just excited. Just, like, waiting for Conquest, and then when he arrives, she would immediately go confront him. I've been waiting for you. Just like...
I can see it.
Yep, so it would be a very good fight, but ultimately I do think Tatsumaki just wins in the end.
Like, Conquest is getting full countered. His personality is also going to play a big factor into this, because Conquest plays with his food a lot. Like, he acts like a spectator in his fights. So, yeah. He's going to lose.
Honestly, though, Tatsumaki, like, if she finds somebody interesting, she also might play around. Like, normally she just one-shots monsters, like, no difficulty. But that's for the weak ones. Like, for people she actually needs something out of. Like, for example, Psychos, she needed information out of him. Out of her. Oh, my God. Out of her. And then she also did toy with Evil Eye because it sort of pissed her off a lot by threatening Fubuki. So, like, for Conquest, this thread that she's going to have been hyped on for, like, however long it's been since Anissa, she might just go also easy at the start. Like, they would both go easy in each other, and then they would both be disappointed. Like, is this really all you've got? Because, like, they would both compare, like, their suppressed states to Nolan or whatever.
Yeah.
And they would just both be disappointed at first, and then eventually they would just start both going all out, and then both be impressed with each other, and eventually Tatsumaki would probably win.
Agreed. So yeah, I kind of ultimately got Tatsumaki winning this, and yeah. So, like, the ultimate takeaway from this video is the world of One Punch Man is definitely equipped to handle invincible villains that are going to be on Earth, but they were going to do surprisingly pretty well. Of course, this is all talking without Saitama, without Blast, those people, but you don't want those people.
Yeah, and King.
Yeah, and King, obviously.
Yeah, it would just be like a pretty boring topic. It's like saying, okay, could the Z fighters defeat Conquest in the Saiyan arc, and then you just bring in like Goku from the Namek arc or something. Like, it just ruins the discussion completely. Like, Saitama is just that guy. Same with Blast, same with King. So we did decide to limit it because it just makes for a much more fun discussion and far more interesting as well. Tatsumaki ultimately carries a lot. Like, the low tier invincible villains get taken out by like higher tier S-class very easily, but then like we have the top echelon, like the high tiers. The S-class heroes don't really stack up too well to those guys. Aside from Tatsumaki, Peak Metal Bat, and like Genos in his 10-second mode.
Yeah. But what I think is even more interesting from this is how much the One Punch Man world would end up improving from the technology Invincible's world introduces to them. Because, like, we talked about this for a little bit of how many upgrade potential there is for Genos here, because of how many tech villains there are. And
Genos, the Reanimen.
Yeah. I don't think it's too, like, ludicrous to say that, like, Invincible has better technology than One Punch Man, right?
Yeah, I would say for the most part.
Yeah. And, like, this also gives them access to space travel. It's just kind of insane how much a combined world would offer for them.
Yeah, if you guys want to see, like, I don't know, a combined what if, that would be fun.
100%.
I'd be down for that.
Same.
Like a combined Invincible One Punch Man what if, however, whatever form that would take.
Yeah.
I'd be down for that.
It would take forever, but I'm, like, down. We'd have to figure out how that would work.
Yeah, it would be, like, an insane collab, but it would be very fun, so let us know if you're interested. And yeah, ultimately I do also want to, final note, briefly discuss how the Viltrumites would sort of view Tatsumaki and like the Earth as a whole after they figure out Nolan has been defeated.
Yeah.
Like, maybe if Nolan has fallen, they might not just send Conquest, but like some others as well with him, just like as backup, maybe. So like that could be a very different scenario, or not really, because like Conquest is ultimately the strongest. Tatsumaki would be like fighting him while the others hold the others off, I would assume, and then Tatsumaki cleans them up after finishing Conquest. But like it would still be a different scenario, so what do you think like the reaction would be to Nolan's death from the Viltrumites?
If I'm being honest, I don't think realistically Anissa or Conquest are being sent to this planet alone. I think they're getting a full Viltrum war.
Yeah, that's probably it, because like after Nolan, and like at that point, Tatsumaki alone carrying... I did put very harsh terms on my original Invincible video for Tatsumaki versus like trillions of Viltrumites. I will say that was my bad. I did not...
But now they're only going to have to deal with 50 of them.
Yep, and Thrag versus Tatsumaki honestly might go hard as well. Like that one is like, damn.
Yeah, but that's another day.
Yeah, that's another topic. And with that being said, go check out Eternal Flame. He makes awesome what ifs, awesome Invincible, and JJK content. And check out me as well if you haven't yet.
Subscribe to Satori.
Subscribe to Eternal Flame as well. And with nothing else to say, we wish you an awesome rest of your day. Goodbye.
Bye.